to our podcast. And by that, I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah.
I'm Laura.
And we are two best friends who are doing a deep dive into different book series, one book at a time. Right now, we are shiting on the Wheel of Time. And we are finishing up today our talk on the second book in the Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan, The Great Hunt. So, Laura, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So I've been reading The Dragon Reborn. We'll talk about that next week starting. I've also been reading Home, which is a memoir by Julie Andrews. And I'm not that far into it, but let me just say next week I'll have some thoughts on this because I had no idea about her life, and it's pretty fascinating. I don't want to share too much on it until I finish it, but I'm astounded. I did not know any of this about her.
She, okay, everyone knows I watched the Graham Norton show. Yeah. She was on it with the two men from 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm. Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Yeah, Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill. And it was the cutest interact. Like Jonah Hill was like crushing so hard on Julie Andrews.
Well, she is possibly the most beautiful woman ever. I think she has aged so gracefully, and she's just beautiful at any age, really.
Yeah, and she was like married to a famous film director, and in one of his films she stars in, she like went topless, and Jonah Hill was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, like it was very tasteful." It was like
she was trying to change her image because everybody kind of viewed her as the nun from Sound of Music, so she was trying to, kind of get into more adult roles, and apparently that's the way to do it.
And she was also on like Broadway for My Fair Lady. And it was kind of like almost a slap in the face that it didn't go to her because like she had done it for so long.
Well, and she was on stage with Rex Harrison in the Broadway, or maybe it wasn't the Broadway, but in My Fair Lady for years.
Guys, this is a prime example of I don't know why I know these things. I just know that I randomly knew a lot about Julie Andrews as we were talking.
Well, and also, can I just mention that didn't we start off this podcast like me being like, I'm the one that loves celebrities, and then you also know so much about different celebrities and people, and you're like, I'm not really into celebrities, but you know a lot about them.
I'm not someone who like, the problem is like I don't obsess over people. I do obsess over people, but different people, like more people in real life. But I just like learning. Like, I don't know how to describe it other than I just really like learning. And I think when you learn about someone's life, it's interesting. I think really like
it's fascinating to learn some of these things about these people.
Yeah. I like watching something and learning about it. So I think like learning how involved she was with My Fair Lady. Sure. And then it went to Audrey Hepburn. I loved My Fair Lady growing up. Yeah. Who doesn't sing? And so like, I loved My Fair Lady growing up. So it's interesting to get that context to it. And so, and I just really love Graham Norton, so I'm gonna talk about his show all the time because why wouldn't I?
Oh, Graham.
He's just the greatest. So that's good. I will be interested to hear your final thoughts. That's some random stuff Hannah knew about Julie Andrews. So.
There's also the other memoir, Homework, and I think I'm gonna read that one also once I finish Home, just because I just want to complete both of them.
I get it. Are you watching anything?
I've just been rewatching New Girl. I've seen all of it before.
New Girl is so funny. I
love it.
Winston is just amazing in that show.
Classic Winston and Coach mess around.
Winston, I'm going to drop a badger. You go too big. You go too big.
Your jokes are either too big or too small. And then the examples are like, you registered me as a sex offender? And then the too small example, Schmidt pours a bowl of cereal and there's a blueberry in
it. Oh God, that show is so great.
Winston is hilarious. Oh,
it's so funny. It's a great show. I'm glad you're rewatching it. I hope you're enjoying.
I also really just enjoy Schmidt, and that Max Greenfield is really funny.
Schmidt, I love a lovable curmudgeon, so I'm a huge Nick fan. But that's my brand of person. Because Schmidt, I think, like grew on me. I also used to love watching like they did a couple Paley fests where they were all like talking, and I love hearing the woman who played Cece talk about like Cece as a character, because she kind of like disagreed with a lot of what Cece did, and she would be like, so when she started like sleeping with Schmidt, she was just like, I don't know why this woman finds him attractive. He is awful. Objectively, what is she thinking?
Fair.
And she's like, he's just a huge douchebag, and she just does all these things, you know. But she's a funny person in real life. I enjoy her, but that's good.
Yeah, it's a funny show. How about you? What have you been reading and watching?
So I just finished one of my NetGalley books. I have a couple coming out in April. I had 2 coming out in April. I'm reading one right now that's by the author of Mexican Gothic.
Okay.
And it's called The Beautiful Ones. It is like fantasy light, but very romance based. So, you know, this man was wronged by a woman, and then he like comes back years later and she's married, and he like kind of starts hitting on her cousin almost like as a way to get to her. It's very interesting, but that's by Silvia Moreno Garcia. And there's like the 2 main characters are both have telekinesis, so they can move things with their mind. And so there's like fantasy parts of it, but it's definitely pure romance.
Okay. So there's elements of fantasy kind of
I kind of picked in with it. I kind of picked it on NetGalley based on its cover. I didn't realize it was the author of Mexican Gothic until I started reading. I haven't read Mexican Gothic, but yeah, even the review of it says comes a sweeping romance with a dash of magic. So it's a dash. So I'm reading that one right now. It's an easy one. I'm trying to finish it before Tuesday because it comes out Tuesday and I'm supposed to write a review before it gets published. Doesn't always happen. But I also finished one that came out last week called Popisho, and that's by Leone Ross. And Leone Ross is of Jamaican descent. And so it's very much kind of like, it's almost like a Jamaican type fantasy novel. It's very interesting and weird. And it's not, I don't know what fantasy novels to compare it to because it's just so bizarre. But I really enjoyed reading it. Like, it was beautifully written. The dialect they use is very much, you know, you have to be comfortable reading different dialects just because the wording choices were a bit different than I'm used to. But it was interesting. And like every single person is born with like what's called course, which is like a magic feature on them. And you don't know what you have. And there's like this revered cook who is like supposed to be blessed by the gods. And like, is supposed to make you the one meal you needed in that moment. And like, since it's chosen by the gods. And so you're following him and a bunch of other people. And he has like the course of like, he can make like herbs and spices from his hands. So like, as he's cooking, he's infusing it with whatever he thinks is necessary at the moment. And he, like, his wife passed away recently, but he's kind of like struggling with the fact that he was in love with another woman the entire time. And like, if someone isn't buried right away, then like their ghost is walking around and is supposed to go to the person that they love most. And so he hasn't seen her and he doesn't know why, because she wasn't buried. So he's like, well, she loved me most, so why haven't I seen her yet? So it's very like bizarre.
Yeah.
And then there's like a whole thing with like the mayor's son being ostracized because he's gay, and like his like magical powers, he can tell when people are lying, and something very strange happens that I don't want to like, it's a huge plot point, and then everything revolves around that plot point, but I feel like people should read it to see. I don't want to like give spoilers, but it's just very interesting. There's like political stuff, there's romantic stuff, and it's just like a very beautiful, very big fantasy novel that's unique. I haven't read anything like it before.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I liked it. I think people should pick it up, give it a try. I understand if people don't like it because, like, again, it's so unique.
Sure.
That I could see
just
people,
for specific audiences.
Yeah, I could see people either loving it or hating it. But if you want to try a very different fantasy novel, highly recommend. And then I've been watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I haven't watched the last episode yet because I got tired last night and I fell asleep instead. It's good. I think I liked I think I liked WandaVision better because it was more my style of story, but it's been very interesting. There's been a lot of discourse online about it that like I listened to all of it. Lots of people who are like, it's not about race, and it's like this entire series is about race. Like it's all about because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because like it's about Sam. He was given the shield, like Captain America's shield, and he is a black man, and it's all about his like experience. And it's just like, no, this is about, and people at the like racists on the internet were like, that's not what it's about, because they don't want to watch a stupid comic book movie about anything other than fun stuff, you know.
He smashes.
Yeah, it's the same. There's apparently apparently a bunch of people got together and bought a billboard that said "Bring back Tony Stark," and it's like so dumb.
Don't they have other things to spend their money on? Good Lord.
Well, it's the same people who like get mad at all the Star Wars movies, and it's like, you know, those movies are all for children, right? Like,
right.
You're not the audience anymore, so you're mad that you like, but it's just not telling as detailed of a story. It's like, no, you think the original ones were detailed because you were a child when you watched them,
right?
And then you have nostalgia. Like I've even admitted, like I can't think Christian Bale had a bad voice in Newsies because I watched it when I was too young. But I could admit, like, if someone was like, no, Hannah, his voice is objectively bad, I'm not going to be like, no, it wasn't. Right. You guys just don't understand. It's like, admit you have a blind spot and just like get over it. Like, it's so dumb. But yeah, that is stuff I see on the internet that bums me out. So,
well, rightly so.
It is a bummer of a thing. And then just watching Zoe's extraordinary playlist and crying every single time at how they handle grief. So I can't recommend that show enough. People should definitely watch that show. I actually, when you said you were watching New Girl, I first thought you said you were rewatching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and I was so excited for you.
I mean, I've rewatched it twice, so I am such a rewatcher. I feel like I tend to rewatch old favorites before I start new shows. I'm like hesitant to start new shows, but I will easily jump back into Parks and Rec or New Girl or Arrested Development or something along those lines and rewatch them again and again and again. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, seen that a million times.
I rewatch a lot of stuff too. I pretty much spend all day watching 30 Rock for no reason, because I've been falling asleep to it, but sometimes I'll hit like a stream of things where I'm like, no, I'm just going to sit here and watch it. Except I skipped some of season 5 because I wanted to get to season 6. I don't know why, but I was like, I don't need to see her break up with Carol. Like I've seen that episode a million times. I'm done. Oh, and I also did read Shadow and Bone last week, so I did finish that.
Yes, it has been taking everything in me to not just start that show. I want to read the books, and the previews and all the Instagram little clips of it look so good. The author is posting all sorts of pictures. It's taking a lot to stay away from it.
To a bookstore and got Six of Crows because I didn't want to wait for the library. And I'm like, I have to read The Dragon Reborn before next week, obviously. But it's also like, and I need to finish the Snack Alley book like tonight or tomorrow, you know? So I know like if I listen to The Dragon Reborn at 2 times the speed, I need 12 hours of my time because I do listen to the audiobook. So I'm like, okay, well, that's a finite amount. And if I do it at 1.5 speed, which I probably will do, it's 16 hours. So I'm like, okay, I know what 16 hours of my week will be Dragon Reborn. And then I'm like, well, what else can I fit in there? Because I was like, maybe I could read Six of Crows and then like give it to Laura immediately so that we both can.
I have Six of Crows already on script. Yes.
Okay.
I made sure to get it.
I think if we both read the first books of each one,
that's what I was going to do too.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm going to watch it. And I said something about I need to read it before I watch it on Twitter, and someone was like, you could just watch it. I was like, okay, so I'm not as mad about spoilers as you are, but if I have the capability to avoid spoilers and read the books first, I'm going to push for that.
Right.
So I just laugh when someone's like, you could just watch it. I was like, no, in my head, yes, that is a reasonable interpretation of this. I did read the first Shadow and Bone book, but if there's a random spoiler Easter egg, I want to know what it is. I don't want to like have people say, oh, did you see that scene? That was from Six of Crows. I want to know. So yeah,
I think it's just been instilled into me from like a very young age that I have to read the book before I see the movie or TV show. And as I've gotten older, I've not always done this, but like I remember as like a little kid, my mom being like, you have to read the book before we go see the movie. And I was just like, okay. And now as an adult, I'm like, well, I have to read the book before I can watch the movie.
That's so funny because my mom never would have told me that. My parents always just told me to calm down as a child because I was so intense. Really? Yeah. I was the kid who was like sobbing in grade school because I got a B on a test, and my parents were like, grade school doesn't matter, Hannah. And I remember I was insulted because like there were 2 different maths you could do, and there was only like 20 students. So like a lot of kids were like, the teachers would pick who would go into the smarter math, and my teacher didn't pick me. And I was like, no, this is insulting. I'm going to get into the smarter person math. I like walked up to her and I was like, what do I need to do? And she was like, you need to do this math workbook. And I was like, okay. And then I just didn't do the math workbook, but I was in the smarter kid math. So
oh my gosh.
That was a good look into Hannah's psyche as a child.
Well, I mean, myself as a child, my mom likes to like joke about how I used to get like almost sick because I would worry so much before those standardized tests that we had to take.
Oh my God.
Because I was terrified that I would fail them. And she was like, no one cares about these tests. Like, do not worry.
I also have like, my mom used to let me, like, I am the youngest of 4 girls. There's a 6-year age gap between myself and one of my older sisters. And so like when I was a child, I just wasn't that interested in people. And my mom let me read at the table, like at restaurants and stuff.
Sure.
And she just didn't tell me like, hey, that's actually kind of a rude thing. So it took me until I was like 12 or 13 to like stop ignoring people and have conversations with them in restaurants. Because my mom, and later I was like, why did you tell me? And my mom was like, I mean, it was good for you. So I just ignored people for an hour while like they had conversations around me until I was almost a teenager. So
that's awesome.
I mean, I think it was fine when I was younger, but like 10 years old, I think it's appropriate to say, hey, Hannah, like join the conversation. You can't just ignore people, you know? Yeah, that's my little trip down memory lane. That's just so funny that I was never corrected. But yeah, I really want to watch the Shadow and Bone series.
It looks so good.
So badly. And I see everyone posting about it, and I'm just like, I just need to get through that book. So it's going to be put on the frontscape. I didn't read like any of the books I promised I would read this month. So I've been trying to play catch up with stuff. Sure. And then I bought a bunch of books, and this stack right here,
because yesterday was Independent Bookstore Day.
Yes. So I got 7 new books, and I went through and I picked out 4 books to donate that I haven't read yet. And I'm just accepting that I'm never going to read them.
Sure.
Because I think that's healthy, because people do not know this about me. I have a Google spreadsheet of all the books I own.
Yeah, you're very organized about it.
I update it, and I have about 200 books, and I have read 42 of them. I read about 50 books a year. It would take me 3 years to get through my entire library.
And it's one of those things where you keep getting more.
Right. So I have
That's my situation as well.
I have purged 27 books, and of those 27, I read like 13 of them. So there are certain books I just think like I did not need to keep. The Outlander books, I think I gave those to you after I was done with them.
I still have not got to them yet. So there's another example of people acquiring books and not reading them.
Right. So I get rid of some of my books, and I'm trying to have a healthier outlook of like some of these books I bought at a certain time of my life, and I have no interest in reading them anymore. Sure. And that is healthy. So
sure.
I'm purging some books and adding more, but of course I got rid of 4 and added 7. And one of them is called Crying in the H Mart, which is a woman dealing with her mom's death. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to read this for 2 years, but I want it. So I'm going to buy it now. And 2 years from now, I will maybe be mentally okay to read this book. So yeah, that's just my life in a nutshell. But yeah, I haven't really been watching a ton of stuff lately. I've been reading a lot lately. So I haven't been watching as much.
So I also made some purchases yesterday on Independent Bookstore Day.
Did you go to our small town books?
Yes.
Store? Oh, good. I missed that place.
I just wanted to tell you that something happened.
Uh-oh, what happened?
A book, like I must have tripped or something, but this book like ended up being bought by me somehow. And I think that you and I both will find it surprising, but I ended up with Dune Messiah.
You tripped and bought Dune Messiah.
Like literally, I tripped and somehow it was in my bag, and I handed them the money for it. I was like, wait a minute, how did that happen?
This is so weird. Look at what? Like,
I am still unsure how it happened. But
you've been like playing around with the idea of reading that though.
I know.
So like it's not shocking to me that
it's not shocking to me either. But I've also, like I keep reflecting back on reading Dune, and I'm like, yeah, I think I liked it. I think I liked Dune. And so I saw that there and I thought, I like Dune. I'm going to read the second one. So I bought it.
I love that journey for you. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Very excited that you got the second book in Dune.
Lots of sandworms, lots of Paul and Jessica.
And Jessica.
I am here for it.
You're in it. You're going to do it. You're doing the thing. That's amazing.
I also am excited because Andy Weir is releasing another book, or not releasing, but he's got another book coming out soon. He wrote The Martian. Oh, I loved The Martian.
Did you know that he self-published that?
Yes, I did know that.
I did not know that. And then it became a movie with Matt Damon.
Yes. Okay, that book is so good. I loved it. And I think I might actually just kind of like sci-fi a little bit more than
fantasy.
Like fantasy and some other genres.
I think I'm fantasy over sci-fi, but I do enjoy certain sci-fis. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I think you should read Jeff Vandermeer. He's my favorite.
I should
sci-fi.
read him because other people have told me about him. So
he's the weirdest, trippiest sci-fi author I've ever read, and I love his stuff. Like I'll
have to check that out.
His most recent book because I saw it and I was like, yeah, I want Jeff Vandermeer's most recent book. But yeah, those are interesting. I'm glad you're going to continue on your Dune journey. I'm glad you're not making me do it with you.
I wouldn't force you into that, but I'll definitely update you on all of Paul's adventures.
Please do. I'm interested in Paul. I mean, yeah. No.
The other thing I wanted to tell you was that we have a couple new listeners. My mom and sister are listening now.
Oh, that's nice.
I got them set up to listen, and my mom was kind of cracking me up because she got out a notepad and she was taking notes of like all the things we were listing, like, and she wanted to like check out some of the TV shows. She's like, oh, Julie and the Phantoms, I'll have to watch that. So she was writing them down so she could
Did you watch tell her that she later. Could look at her show notes?
One step at a time, Hannah.
Okay.
One step at a time.
That's very sweet. I'm very
As
excited
of now, this is easier. But I also thought it was really funny that she, along with writing different books and TV shows down, she wrote down, don't gaslight Hannah about pie.
Oh, I love your mom. Laura's family is the sweetest.
I thought that was so funny.
I love that. That's amazing. I'm glad they're listening. Yay for new listeners. Yeah, I don't have anything else to tell you besides the fact that my Uber Eats did another delivery before mine, and now I'm worried my milkshake will be melted.
What kind of milkshake did you get?
A chocolate one.
Chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay, do you prefer milkshakes or malts?
Probably malts, I would say.
Okay, I also prefer malts, and I have a slight like malt addiction where I'll buy the malted milk powder and then I'll just make malts for a straight
so I have
week or so until the stuff is gone.
I don't know the difference between the two. I just know I prefer malts.
It's this like special powder that you have to put in.
Okay.
I have a little bit left that I haven't finished off. I could go read the ingredients so we know for sure.
You don't have to do that. We also like Google is a thing.
That's true. You can Google the difference. I forgot about the internet.
Is the difference between weather and climate? That's my first pop-up. What's the difference between weather and climate, race and ethnicity, mass and weight, speed and velocity, weathering and erosion, affect and effect, magma and lava, prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, and transcription and translation?
Okay, so obviously there are a lot of bio majors on Google.
Apparently,
so many of these things.
It's just like my computer's like, well, Hannah's kind of dumb about science, so here are all the science ones.
Well, I'm like, translation versus transcription, prokaryotic versus eukaryotic. Is this a molecular biology class?
Yeah, it's just malted milk powder.
Okay, so I was right. It is just the powder.
Yeah. Okay.
I also feel like malts are a little bit thinner.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. But I'm splitting my milkshake with my roommate because although it may be melted, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I ordered for us and I didn't ask her if she wanted a milkshake. And she was like, I thought about ordering one. And I was like, what? Let's just split it because I don't need a full on milkshake by myself. Because I just wanted a burger and it's 8:15 at night. So,
sure.
Okay. Well, should we get started on doing our final discussion of the Great Hunt?
Yes, let's do it.
So I want to like talk about a theme here that's like, okay. Rand is just Jesus. It's a pretty much
a Christ narrative.
It's a Christ narrative. Mm-hmm. And like he's Jesus for the Aiel, he's Jesus for the Aes Sedai.
Yep.
And it's real, it's just very, very religious when you're reading this book.
Yeah. Like, there's so many books that follow that kind of narrative though. I mean, Harry Potter.
Yes.
So
it's an easy narrative.
Lord of the Rings.
Well, it's like chosen one. It's always going to be like a Jesus narrative. But this one just feels so specific because like the Aiel and the Aes Sedai like look up theories on who it's going to be. And it's like an organized religion around this one redheaded man. Like it's just so, it's a lot. So I've been noticing that. And like we talked about this, Jordan was very interested in religions. He kind of like did an amalgamation of all of them. So I just, as I keep reading, I'm just like, this is like the Christ narrative, the Aiel coming down and being like, we're searching for our lost brother who's going to lead us back into our lands, So that's a theme that I'm interested in. We've talked a lot about like women versus men. And you actually like got on some Reddit threads.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I so far have not found any spoilers because I've been desperately trying to avoid them. So I just kind of was curious what other people thought about the relationships between men and women in this series. And I found some interesting things just because some people feel that Jordan handles the series well in regard to the relationship between men and women, and some people think that he handles it very poorly.
Right.
And we'll see as we get farther, but a lot of people feel that farther on in the books that the women, especially, they don't get very good storylines, that they're kind of just throwaway characters, and that they're overly sexualized. So I can see that kind of becoming a thing,
right?
Possibly as we move on. I also think it's interesting that a lot of people, it seems like a lot of men on Reddit did not appreciate the way that Jordan has kind of flipped society where women are in a place of power. And I shouldn't even say, well, no, they kind of are in a place of power.
Right.
But a lot of men on Reddit were like, I don't like how they're written because women are all just jerks and they treat the men like they don't know anything, like they're stupid all the time. And I found that kind of interesting because I feel like that happens to women a lot, where women in our society, in the real world, where women are kind of treated like they're stupid. So
yeah.
I thought it interesting that in this fictional story that Robert Jordan has created, where he flipped the society around, that men don't like that.
I do love that happens, and love that, like,
that people can't recognize it.
It's one of those things where there's like a whole thing on like TikTok and Twitter where they're like posts by Republicans that definitely feel liberal. It's like a Republican being like, well, you mean you want to like give just free healthcare to everyone? Like and that's just, you just want everyone to exist like it's a right? And people are like, yes, that's exactly what I'm asking. Like, where's the lie? It's nowhere. So it's it's one of those things where it's like they're showing their true colors, but they're like, I just don't like that men are just treated so reductively, and like they just don't get like any point in the narrative where they're the smartest person in the room. It's always the woman who's the smartest person in the room.
You get the real world.
Yeah, and it's just like, and you get the real world. Give us this fantasy where it's just like a bunch
Can
of
we
women.
Please have one 15-book series.
Or like, it's never a question that the women are more competent in this series. Like, I just keep, it's just not realistic. It's not like...
Well, you know what? You're going to get your way in the end because one man is going to be more powerful than all of the women.
Right. Like, and that we've discussed like how problematic that is, that it's just like almost giving him permission to like, and I think people do this a lot of times with their books where they're like, well, I don't know if I feel comfortable touching on that topic, but like, I'm going to give you another thing and that'll make you happy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think it's so funny how little has to be done to make men angry.
Yes.
It is still a book where the chosen one is a man. He's the most powerful in the room. And boys get angry.
The world.
The world. And boys get angry that women call men dumb.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people on Reddit do not like Nynaeve.
I am almost feeling worse and worse that I don't like Nynaeve. Like, as we keep talking about it, as you defend her, part of me is a little like bummed I'm not on her team yet. Like, I'm hoping it happens. I just don't know.
People love Egwene. But also, there were people that were kind of making me feel better because they also kind of got that Disney princess vibe, and people in general thought that Jordan kind of writes women as being boy crazy, especially the three that we talked about. So
they are so boy crazy and annoying, and I don't like that group.
Yeah, that is unfortunate that it's being written like that, because you know it does take a lot away from the story. Really, there's so much he could do with them to make them more interesting, and also I just don't think that really bodes well for a book series that's being kind of lauded as portraying women so well, when some of the main characters are just kind of like right off the bat boy crazy, and like, oh, if you can't have him, I hope that you do, and if I can't have him, I hope that you do. And
I also like, I don't want us to be so reductive that we're like, you can't be a strong woman if you're boy crazy, because that's not true.
Agreed.
But I think it needs to be handled more deftly than Robert Jordan does.
The way that it's being handled.
Yes. So like I
also think maybe the reason I feel so poorly about the way that it's handled is because of some of the repetition. And I think that plays a huge part into the way that I feel about it, because it's so repetitive that it's like it's being drilled into my brain, like they're boy crazy. So that's got to be part of the reason that I feel this way. But yeah, I'm very disappointed by men. Especially.
That's why I want to say this out loud, because it's like, I feel conflicted about men, because it's like, I don't want her to be like, I'm a woman who wears pants, and so then I'm a badass, so therefore I can't be boy crazy, because that's not true either. And I think we need all like, I don't think just femme identifying women, are attracted to men or want a relationship. And I think it's okay for men to be, more like identifying with like masculine clothing and masculine haircuts.
I think that's fine. Like,
yes.
I think that you can definitely dress more masculinely and also like be interested in men and all this. Like, that's totally fine. I mean, I consider myself to be very crazy about my husband, but also I would hope that I kind of have something to my personality outside of like being in love with my husband, and I just feel like the way that it's like written is like, what did we learn about these characters in this book besides that they love Rand?
Yes. And that is where I definitely agree with you. They do not do enough to show why these women love Rand. Like,
yes,
they tell you, they do not show you. So that is frustrating to read and just upsetting. So yeah, I don't think either one of us think you can't be like wear masculine clothes and not be attracted to men. I just wanted to say that out loud so that people were not sitting there like, wow, they really think men should just like never want to marry a man. It's like, no,
that's not true.
But she only met Rand once, and then she just became obsessed with him.
And also, Perrin is way better. Talk to him a little bit.
Yeah, just find something. And you're right, like the repetitiveness that Jordan writes with is incredibly annoying.
It's annoying in all aspects, not just that one. Like, even just like the prologue of the books, it's like, we get it. This man is called Bors. Like, how many times do you have to say that? That is annoying to me. It's just so repetitive.
Yes, I agree with all of that. And I think it's important to identify that it is very repetitive, because I think we're about to have 14 books of lots of repetition.
Yeah. Here's what you missed on Glee.
Glee. Oh, Will Schuster is a bad person? Okay.
I mean, yes.
I don't know. Are there any... Oh, we had a great question on Twitter.
Okay.
Because I asked, and it was, what would you like to see happen in the series? So not like actual, like much more open-ended, not like what we think will happen, but what would we like to see happen?
What would we like to see happen? I would like to see a total plot shift from Rand to Perrin. Perrin becomes the main character of the books, and we leave Rand to be in Emmonsfield, where he wants to be, and we learn more about Perrin. Perrin meets all sorts of other wolf brothers, and they create this really cool pack. And Perrin is the main character and does lots of awesome stuff. He runs around with his axe and kills a bunch of Trollocs, and he does amazing things. And we don't have to deal with Matt and his whininess. And yeah, the books are about Perrin. That's what I would like to see. A book series about Perrin. It will never happen, but...
Perrin and the death of his terrible friend Matt, as Ronnie reads regularly stated.
Yeah, that's what we need.
What would you love to see with the women in Wheel of Time?
Okay, so I don't want to say yet, just because this is a spoiler for Dragon Reborn. So I don't want to say yet, but I will say in our discussion about the Dragon Reborn. So please remind me.
I will likely forget, but I will try very hard to remind you. I think I would like to see in the books, like, I would really love to see Rand almost like a wish fulfillment, where he gets to go home, tries to go home, and then he realizes like, no, I'm actually supposed to be on this journey. So it feels less like the plot's happening to him and he's growing as a character. I think I would really like to see him grow and not just repeat himself over and over again. I don't want Egwene to end up with anyone. I don't know why I feel that strongly. I know it won't happen. This isn't about what I think is going to happen. You asked what I wanted to happen. Thank you for like...
You let me go on my Perrin rant. Like,
yeah, like I had no ads.
He'll have his own book series, and he'll go off with all his wolf brothers, and then I let you get like one word out. Nope.
Well, that's just unrealistic. Well, thank you. You wanted a different book series. We know.
It's pretty bad that I feel like that's more realistic than you have one character have this slight change to what's going to happen.
Change, like one tiny change that I was hoping for this character who I have like strong love for, and I want to protect her and I want her to get everything she wants, and you're just like, well, that's obviously Hannah. Come on, how dare you have a dream for a character? Yes, Laura, I am sure that won't happen. Thank you.
What else would you like to see happen? I won't interrupt. I'll mute.
I mean, you don't have to mute, but like I again, I don't really care about Matt, but I would like to see, like, if he were linked to now the horn and the dagger, I would love to watch that journey. Like, I think that's interesting. I'm not sure Jordan would handle it as much as I would like him to, but I think that that's a very creative storytelling device to have like two ends of the spectrum where like one's bad and one's good, and Matt's kind of stuck in the middle, because so far we just don't care about Matt. Like, there's nothing to like about Matt right now.
Mm-hmm.
There just isn't. I would like to like Nynaeve. That's a goal of mine. I want to actually like Nynaeve.
As far as Nynaeve, you know how we talked about in the was it the last episode, how it would be interesting if Nynaeve was kind of this character that was working against them the entire time. I think that would be
last episode.
I think that would be actually kind of something I would like too, where she's not really helping them out and she's not really helping the Dark Friends out, but she's really slowing them down. And
she's really slowing them down. I love that.
I kind of would enjoy that as well.
I would agree with that. I think that that's interesting.
Just because it's different.
Well, and I don't think I would like her more out of it, but I would like.
I don't think I would like her more either. I just think that it would be interesting to read about.
So I also know some spoilers ahead, so I can't share certain thoughts.
Yeah, don't.
But I don't always agree with where Jordan takes characters because I'm just like, why? Fair. Why did I have to watch that happen? And then, yeah, I mean, it would have been cool if the person who could save the world was a woman in this matriarchal society.
Sure. Well, that's one thing we've learned, that when women are in charge, the only one that can save the world is a man.
But it's still sexist, Laura, because the men are still dumb.
Oh, why?
And then I would love to see more Loyal, just because I'm interested in his story.
I would love to see in this series non-human characters like Loyal actually have something meaningful to contribute
outside of Rand.
That they're not just like people see them like, oh, wise Ogier, and then they actually don't think he's that wise, and he's actually not written that wisely. So do we really honor Ogiers that much? And do we really treat them like they are very wise if we're kind of just making them into the lovable sidekick who's like, oh, I'll follow you anywhere, Rand?
Oh my God, I hate that. I'll follow you anywhere. Don't worry. I will never question you or anything about you or
the most beautiful woman in the world. I also would like it if we had, not all the women were devastatingly beautiful.
Right.
Could we get some normal people?
No, we can't. They're all beautiful, stunning, Laura.
Yeah.
The most beautiful woman in the world, except for a queen and Nynaeve. And
except
all the other...
they're extremely attractive, and anybody that's old is really pretty for their age, and it's kind of ambiguous as to how old they are.
Well, we're also I'm assuming this is kind of written for the time of no one's living over the age of 60 in this world.
Okay, so people are 40 and they're Moraine's 40 and oh my gosh, she's really old, but she looks great for her age.
Exactly, where it's no, 40-year-old women are still very attractive.
That is unfortunate. Robert Jordan obviously did not have a vision of what J-Lo was going to look like.
I like that your first shot was J-Lo. I appreciate that.
Okay, I mean, not the greatest example because she's always been extremely beautiful, but I mean, she looks amazing in her 50s. So don't be hating on Moraine oh, she looks great for 40. Okay, people still look great at 40.
Also in my mind, Moraine was 30 because then he was man, she's kind of old, and I was she kind of comes across as 30. She doesn't feel that old.
She doesn't feel that old to me either when I'm reading about her. But then I guess if you're Rand and you're 17 years old, somebody who's 30 would seem old.
Right. Well, that's
when I was 16, I used to think people who were 30 were really old.
That's very true. I was talking to a 21-year-old and she was how do you date? And I was dating apps, and she was I would feel uncomfortable on those, and I was oh, we are two different people right now. I am feeling the 9-year age gap. Okay, have fun with that thought when you're 30. Please don't speak to me like that. I feel attacked.
Can't handle that energy.
It's when Laura was very offended when it came out that skinny jeans were no longer acceptable, and I was
yeah,
you realize and this is my response was, you realize these are children, right? These are children telling you can't wear skinny jeans. It doesn't matter. They don't matter. Like,
what next? We can't eat Tide Pods?
Okay. But like, I don't know. I have such a
I hate also that people kept using that as like the throwback against them. Like, okay, come on.
Yes, exactly. I just get really annoyed with like people ragging on children. I'm just like, you're an adult. Could you not like, as long as the child isn't being harmful, just let them do stupid crap. We did stupid crap when we were young. So that's my thought on that is just
keep wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah. No one's stopping you. You're just not going to look young and hip anymore. Who cares?
There's probably going to be a surplus of them now. So
yeah. Well, you're like,
they'll be cheap. I'm all over that.
Well, like everyone our age was just like, no, we wore the wide-legged pants once upon a time. They got wet a lot.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. Do you remember that? Like your pant legs, and then they would like wick up all the water and everything. It was just uncomfortable.
And then you would go into a gross college bar and like they would get dirty. It's just disgusting.
No. Such a pain.
Rosamund Pike is in fact 42 though, so Moraine will be 40.
Okay.
Maybe she was always supposed to be older and I just aged her down.
I mean, could be. I don't know. I would say the 30s is fair to picture her as that age.
I just thought of like what 16-year-olds find old and I was like 30?
Yeah. I think it's really funny what little kids think is old. Because if you ever ask a little kid, how old do you think I am? You'll either get a close answer, like 6, or you'll get a really far off answer, like 200.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, little kids are the funniest. My niece, I like had my hair up on top of my head the last time I was home. Like, because I'm growing out my bangs, I'll do like a half pony with it tied up like on top of my head so it'll pull my bangs back. And I was in the other room and I came into the living room and she looked at me and she goes, "Oh, I like your hair." And it was just like unprompted and like so joyful. And I was like, I've never felt more complimented than when a 2-year-old told me she liked my hair. Which is very adorable.
Oh, that is really cute.
And then my sisters and I do Marco Polo where we like videotape like ourselves talking. And I videotaped one and I sent it to my sisters and apparently she ran over and was excited and I tried to tape a video and she goes, "No, I just want to see a Hannah." And then I sent like another response and she like took the phone away and was trying to show me her artwork when like that's not how that works. She just assumed we were FaceTiming.
Oh.
Okay, so any predictions for the next book or for the series overall? Any predictions that have changed?
Okay, so I'm gonna stick with some of my predictions I've already made. And I'm gonna say that Egwene is definitely gonna get married. Rand is definitely going to be the savior. And I think he'll be like a king or something, I'm guessing. Because I'm predicting that he'll end up with Elaine and they'll be like king and queen. And it'll be kind of like a reluctant king type situation in my mind. That's what I'm foreseeing. I would like to see Perrin and Matt kind of have their own storylines that kind of diverge from Rand, but I'm almost not thinking that's going to happen. I feel like they're always going to be very connected to Rand, and maybe they're going to be off on like some side quests.
Well, they are in order to, so they can't get away from each other.
Can't they also do important things that are not like directly connected to him? That would be kind of nice. But
no, because it's a Jesus story. So the apostles must follow Jesus.
Okay. Well, it would be, I would like to see them do something like that, but I feel like they probably will always just be on some kind of like little side quest. If they're not directly with Rand all the time, they'll be on some quest to help him. And then I think we can probably see a Lan and Nynaeve relationship happening in, I'm going to guess, book 5-ish, because they're setting it up already in book 2 for Moraine to ditch Lan as her warder. So
I mean, saying if I die, you're gonna go to someone else that's not technically ditching him. Like,
she's setting it up. She's setting it up.
You just make it sound like she's like, I'm gonna break up with you in like 6 months and you're not gonna like it.
Well, I feel like it's kind of, it felt like that to me, and I was like, really? I thought you were supposed to be bonded for a really long time, and you're kind of predicting that you're going to be heading out here, and I don't know.
She's predicting she's going to die again.
I know.
This is like in her will. Like, it's not, that would be like me saying, hey, Laura, if I die, I'm going to give you this necklace. And then like 2 years later, you're like, so where's the necklace? It's like, yeah, it's contingent upon my death.
I don't know. I guess I feel like it just seemed too convenient. And so I'm wondering if there'll be some sort of Moraine is disappeared and people think she is dead.
I think that
situation. And then it's like, oh, Lan, you're free to be with Nynaeve. And so I also am predicting that they will all be green Aja, the 3 that we know of that are like novices right now.
Interesting. All green?
Yeah, I think they'll all be green. Because aren't those the ones that marry?
Yeah, but like, I don't think it's by rule that like a blue can't marry. Because I could see.
Is it? Oh, I thought there was rules.
Hold on.
Definitely not red, because red are the ones that.
Well, they hate all men.
Yeah,
I hate all men, but it just says Aes Sedai sometimes marry their warders, but the practice is most common among the greens.
Okay, so I was under the impression that only the green Aja could marry. So maybe they won't all be green Aja, all 3 of them. But
yeah,
I think Nynaeve will definitely be green Aja because she'll marry Lan.
Yeah, I could see her being green Aja.
And probably Elaine because she'll have to marry Rand.
Right.
And then Egwene could go blue or green.
I could see her being blue, but that's just me.
What predictions do you have?
Well, I think Lan and Nynaeve are going to get married. I amend my last prediction that Rand does not marry Elaine because you had read the second book and I had not. But yeah, he's going to marry Elaine. I think, again, like Perrin's going to end up with some no-name woman that we didn't know about. And
I think Perrin will end up with somebody random.
Yeah.
I don't foresee any of them remaining single, except maybe Moraine.
Well, yeah, Moraine's going to stay single because there's no indication that she actually even likes any man or woman. I foresee all of that. I bet at one point Tam dies. I'm going to just really randomly say that out loud.
Tam dies? Okay.
Yeah. I could see that happening because I think that would be a very big deal for Rand, obviously.
Yeah.
And it would be an interesting thing to have happen. And I could see that happening. But like nothing major. Again, I saw some spoilers that would affect what I would, because I looked something up and saw something. So I can't about Egwene. So I can't say that, but she will probably not be single. I kind of know who her love interest will be too. So that stinks.
Yeah, don't say anything. I will tell you. My thing that I would like to happen, I will talk about when we start talking about the Dragon Reborn, but it also involves Egwene. So,
well, any final thoughts? Like anything you want to say before we end this?
The biggest thing we need to happen is for this whole book series to switch from
become
Rand
about Perrin.
To Perrin.
I love that when I had a random, not even that big of a thing, you jumped on me.
That's not
but
even
you
possible.
Can't even but
you know what would be even better?
Story to
if
be different.
Rand became a worm.
Well, you're going to read all about that when you get into Dune. So,
see, I already know this is happening, and I'm ready to dive into Dune.
It was learning the worm spoiler what did it for you? You were just like, well, now honestly, I gotta read it.
It's one of those things can't look away.
No, you can't look away from that. I get that. Okay, well, everyone, we are starting the next book next week, so be prepared to come in. We will have spoilers for The Dragon Reborn, which Hannah has not started yet because she is a procrastinator.
What do you think of the cover of it?
I have the mass market paperback ones, so I don't know the cover.
Too. And you just have the newer ones.
Yeah, I have the newer ones.
Okay. So I have the older ones, and Ronnie reads regularly made a comment about the cover of this book because she's the same version as me, and it was exactly the same thing that I thought. She said, somebody watched Seinfeld and got the puffy shirt. Rand is on the cover wearing this like puffy shirt, yes, just like Jerry Seinfeld wears on the show.
That's amazing. I pulled it up and you are right. That is the pirate shirt, but I don't want to be a pirate. Which is like in one of the museums in DC.
Is it really? That's awesome.
Yeah. Don't know why I know that, but I knew. Yeah. So we will be doing that. We'll be going into the plot. So, read along with us. Let us know your thoughts. You can
follow us on Instagram and
follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OWWRpod. That's our pod. And you can email us at owwrpod@gmail.com. We are happy to discuss these books in depth with people who want to talk. So, and then please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. It's a way to get out to more people like Laura and Laura's mom and sister. So yes. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Mom, give me 5 stars.
Drop those 5 stars. Drop a couple likes, and then have a great day. Bye.
Bye.